Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Mars October Rants. Today's rant is going to be titled Humor is Subjective, because that's something that I feel a lot of people forget, is that certain things that we say, they're not always going to be funny to everybody, because everyone has their own, unique way of viewing the world, and everyone has a different, opinion on what is funny. And, people like to say, what jokes are funny and what jokes aren't funny. And, they'll try to tell you that a certain thing you said isn't funny, but other people laugh, and that's just something that people just don't seem to understand is that, you don't have to find someone's joke funny. It doesn't mean that they're unfunny. It just means that you don't think that the joke they said was funny. But, just because you say something that may not be considered funny to somebody, it doesn't mean that you're not funny because, other people laugh their ass off. That's the thing that, comedians probably go through, They'll have a crowd of people that they tell a joke to, and maybe only a couple people laugh the first time they say it. But then, they go to a different club or a different venue where they perform comedy, and, 30 or 40 more people laugh. And then, eventually they go somewhere where everyone laughs, where people have good senses of humor. And that's just how it is. People aren't always going to laugh at what you say. And that's something that I've realized is that, just because you don't find something funny, it doesn't mean that that person sucks. And I go through that sometimes myself where I'll try to be funny and try to make a joke, and some person will be shitting on me, and they'll be saying that what I said wasn't funny and I'm a loser and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, it's not that serious. I'm just telling a joke, I'm really into black humor, which is very dark humor, like fucked up things and fucked up jokes. And that's a kind of humor that not everyone really finds funny. And, it takes a certain type of people to, understand dark humor. There's a dark humor joke, and it goes, dark humor is kind of like food. Not everybody gets it, which is true. Some people just don't understand dark humor and don't understand a lot of the jokes that I say. And then they want to take offense to the jokes that I say. So, everyone just has their own way of, expressing themselves, and everyone just needs to do what they feel is funny and say the jokes that they feel are funny. And it's okay if I don't find it funny, because other people might find it funny, and, that's what you should focus on. You should try to find the crowds of people, or, if you're a comedian, or maybe you want to get into comedy, or even if it's just groups of people that laugh at your jokes, surround yourself with people that, know that you're funny. And, I remember I was listening to a debate, and one of the things that they were talking about is humor. And that argument did come up about how comedy is subjective and how humor is subjective. And, because this guy on YouTube was making a bunch of dark humor jokes, and he had like a panel of people that debated him on it on a live stream, saying that what he said wasn't funny and it was fucked up. And, people will make rape jokes and, molestation jokes, and they'll say it's not funny because, actual people suffer and went through that, and you're making light of their situation. And, I've heard actual rape victims make jokes about it. Everyone, will say different things. And, sometimes people make jokes about their own trauma. It's how they get better. I remember hearing 9/11 jokes, a couple of weeks after it happened. I remember as a kid hearing them. You're like, it happens, I even heard that, I didn't really go because I was young, but I heard comedians talking about in comedy clubs. Like I said, people were making jokes about 9/11 like a couple of weeks afterwards. Like people, do that sometimes. That's just how they cope with stuff. And, again, you're not always going to understand someone's humor, but it doesn't mean that they're unfunny. And, I think it's just about finding what you find funny, like there's certain comedians I don't like and I just don't listen to them. But, like George Carlin, would talk about how, people will try to tell you what you can and can't joke about, and he's right. Like, people try to police comedy now and tell you that you can't joke about something because it's not funny. But, you can joke about anything. He said it's all just about how you construct a joke. Each joke needs one exaggeration. And he's right. Like, you can joke about anything. You just have to make sure you joke about it correctly. He was a very smart man, and, it's a travesty he's dead because, he inspired a whole generation of people, and he still inspires people today. So rest in peace to him. So thank you for listening to this episode of the Humour Is October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.